Okay, so for today's showcase, we're going to be going over a couple different things, as per usual. Nothing too different here. We do have quite a few new assets. We have about 30 or 40 new items from Zane, who's one of the artists that I was talking about a while ago. He wasn't able to make spells, unfortunately. However, I do think his items are really cool. You're going to see some of those scattered around the map, and those will be shown off in this showcase. I do think I won't have enough time to show off the other 30 for reasons that should be pretty obvious. However, I have done quite a bit with not necessarily just rings, but equipment in general, some quality of life stuff there, as well as some other features there. We also have some bugs fixed, a lot of bugs fixed with that actually. And then we are also going to be in the future, in the next couple days or so, we're going to be looking into fitting in another 30 items or so. We have genuinely a ton of different stuff that I'm going to talk about after I'm done showing these rings off, and particularly the new equipment stuff that I've mentioned a couple times now. And after that, we're actually going to be talking about the wiki. So I've organized this in order of coolness, I guess. Initially, we're going to be showing off the new stuff, bug fixes, new features, quality of life stuff. Then we're going to be talking about what else is done, or rather what else we got from the items, or the item asset drop. And then after that, we're going to be looking at the wiki. So I feel like that's probably a scale of boredom for some people, hopefully. I'm going to try to go quick so it goes over pretty fast either way. And I guess we can just get started. So the first ring here is just a basic band. This is a mundane ring, basic ring, mundane quality. All of these are coded in. This one doesn't have a special description, no stats or anything. None of these have stats actually, just because I don't, it's, they're obviously going to get washed away anyway, just because I want to change them in the future, so no big deal. Anyway, that one's a very basic one. Obviously, it's just a little band. I would assume it's like a steel band or something like that. And then up here, we can grab this one. This one is a strange ring, otherwise known as an uncommon quality ring. And then this has a little description that I've written up for it. And as you can see, of course, as with the last showcase, we have the uncommon quality here. I'm going to go through all of these rings before I actually equip one and show you what I've done there. So I'm going to pick up, this is the, I believe, rare ring. As you can see, this thing is still pushed down. It's very annoying. I'm not sure. I do know why it's doing that actually. It's just frustrating that it is. But regardless, this is the outlandish ring. This is the rare quality one that I added. And in total, if you're curious about how many rings we have, this is about half of the rings. We have 2 more legendary rings, and I'll show you the first in a minute, because I think it looks pretty cool. I'm really a fan of all of them, and I think that the one I've included in this one is actually the worst looking one out of all 3, which is a good thing. But I have, I believe, a mundane quality one, an ordinary one, a uncommon one as I've shown, a rare quality one, an epic quality one, and then 3 legendaries. And then we have recolors of the uncommon. So the uncommon's going to get a number of different recolors because that's the one with the little garnet. And then we have several of the others as well. So it's just a ton of rings. I'm really happy with all of that. So, as you can see, you can tell, it's coming along quite nicely in terms of actually getting stuff done in that regard. So this is the epic one, I'm pretty sure. Otherworldly ring. You guys can read that as well. And then down here is the final ring, which is the legendary ring. And this is actually the first legendary quality item I've shown off. As you can see, it's like a nice red color. I thought that this was a little bit better than orange because we use orange in so many other places in the game, even for like RPs and stuff. So I figured it would be better to have that red, that like kind of scarlet red, because otherwise you wouldn't really be able to tell that this is special at first glance. So that's my reasoning there. And we're going to go ahead and use this one, I think, to equip. So I've never shown off equipping items before in the ring slots, but the way this works basically is I can take this out and I can put it in over here. And the idea there is that both of those are ring slots. I should probably explain that. So this is the head slot, chest, legs, boots, weapon, amulet, and then these are both ring slots. So that took a little bit of a kind of reconversion of logic to figure out how that was supposed to go. Basically, I just wanted to make sure that you were able to put rings in both slots and you didn't have some sort of weird thing where only half of the rings in the game were able to go into half of your ring slots and vice versa, because obviously that doesn't make any sense. So now you have 2 ring slots and a ring will fit into both of them, obviously. And I think that's not really that cool, but it's definitely a bug fix that I wanted to work out. So that's there, that logic is fixed. You probably already noticed, but maybe not. You can also click on it, and when you click, or actually when you drag it in, it will automatically load up the description here. So that's kind of cool, I think. It's not that huge of a deal, but being able to click on stuff and see the description is obviously pretty important. So that also works by clicking. So if I want to, I can go ahead and click on these and see what they mean. And obviously, it doesn't do any harm to drag them around. Or I guess it does. Okay. I see. So I tried to drop it onto the ground, but it's in my my equipment. So there is a bug with that, I guess, but no big deal. We should be able to drag a second. Yep. Okay. So that's not something I tested. It just works, which is obviously very good. So you can wear two rings and a weapon at the same time, of course. And we're actually kind of filling up on these slots. We only really need. I guess we have helmets. So, or a few different helmets, and so we just need the other stuff, which is exciting, obviously. Um, so yeah, that's rings, and I think that's everything. There were a couple other things that I had to work out, like a couple different bugs that I was trying to fix with that. Um, but before we run out of time, because we have so much stuff to cram into the next 4 minutes or so, 5 6 minutes. Before we move on to the other stuff, I want to talk about the other items that Zane did, as well as the other items Hal did, because we got so many assets at the same time. I didn't realize how many items Zane was actually doing. And I'm really happy that he did, but I just didn't realize at first. So he did herbs. So I think we have 3 or 4 new herbs, and each of those herbs has a different growth state. So I've made a design decision to change it so that it's not just a random icon for each of the gems and each of the ores and everything, and herbs especially. So instead of that, it's actually going to be representative of what it's containing. And the reason I didn't want to do that before is because if it just randomly chooses locations, if it shows, then people will avoid mining, say, iron or something, and then I have to provide a ton of incentive to mine these low game or early game ores. Otherwise, people just leave them there and they'll stagnate, and then they will never refresh into, say, some special like, I don't know, cobalt or something, for instance. So because no one will ever mine iron, it won't naturally regen into cobalt, and people have to go out and do that, and it's tedious and annoying. So I was worried about that, but basically what we're going to do instead is actually just have daily resets. So if ore hasn't been recently around or recently has people around it or whatever, then it won't be reset. Otherwise, if it hasn't been reset in 24 hours, it will be reset. So the idea there is that you'll automatically wipe ores that aren't being mined. So iron ore that's stagnated won't, clog up the system and prevent people from getting cobalt or whatever. Hope that makes sense. I think it's pretty simple, but still an important choice anyway, or decision, I guess. Um, Regardless, the idea there is that herbs will have a visual indicator, and that means growth states. So they'll have the actual growth states for growing into the herbs, and then we're going to have a couple other lesser herbs that don't have growth states that are just harvested from a generic bush that are random. So that way we get kind of 3 different levels of randomness and so on with blacksmithing, alchemy, and lapidary. So there's both consistency in some areas and value in some areas, and then also some randomness with the kind of lesser important stuff. We do have geodes now. That is one of the things that was done. All of the gems were redone. All of the gem sprites were redone. All of the potion sprites were redone. We have plenty more now. We actually have, I think, 8 or 9 unique potion sprites, which is fantastic. And all of those will be getting recolors too for different potions and everything. So I'm super excited for that. We have a total of, 12 growth states, as well as 4 new item states for 4 different, I guess, fruit, you could say, herbs, whatever you want to call them. So that's awesome. And then we also have a couple new magma spells. I'm sorry, I'm trying to race through this as fast as possible because we really did get a ton, and I'm not able to show any of it off because, well, not any of it, but all of it off. And I still want to show off the wiki too. So that's all that, and then we also got a light spell done. So light magma, 4 new fruits, 4 new herbs, whatever you want to call them. We got 8 new potions. We got 4 new gem types that'll all get recolors and everything. We got 7 new rings, which will also get recolors, as well as a geode for lapidary. So I think that's everything. I apologize if I missed anything. I don't think you'd know if I did, but just in the future, if I did miss anything at this point in time, feel free to call me out on it later. I am going to go to the wiki now because I do want to talk a little bit about that, so if you're not really that interested, feel free to leave. It's not that interesting, I will say. However, it's a huge accomplishment because this has just been a goddamn slog for me. It is so frustrating having to deal with Debian and Ubuntu, which are Unix OSs if you weren't aware. So I'm going to switch over to my browser real quick. And as I said, not really that crazy or anything. And right now, it is literally the most bare bones it can possibly get. So I don't want you to think that I'm trying to show this off because it's like some crazy thing like where, oh, we have a wiki, working wiki. This isn't a working wiki. It's probably not going to be very reliable for a little while because I will probably need to take it up and down on the server and everything. But the important thing is that I can actually use the wiki. I don't have to use the server IP for it. I have it connected to a domain, which is actually a really nice domain. I got verdict.wiki, which is great. That's obviously very lucky. It was pretty cheap too. It was like $20 a year, I think. So that's cool. We also have a shortened URL here, which took a little while. It's not that impressive again, but it was much better, or it is much better than it was. We have just it's settled basically. All of the hosting stuff should be done, and I have most of the kind of setup done. We do need to look into kind of setting this up and everything, but each of the URLs work. We don't need to worry about that too much. Everything works as intended. This is using MediaWiki, in case you weren't aware, or in case you couldn't read the screen. Yeah, so that's fantastic. It's so exciting because a lot of people have been wanting to hear about lore, a lot of people have been wanting to share lore, and it's really just very difficult to do that in a showcase kind of format because, I mean, lore is important and everything, but no one really wants to hear about, you know, tiny tidbits of lore like it showcases. It's not really something that can be showcased like a feature can or like new art can or new spells, whatever. So really I just kind of want to make sure that we have a place to showcase that all together and keep people updated on what we're doing with the lore because we have done so much work. So much writing has gone into it, so many great ideas, so much culture and stuff like that. It's just been fantastic. Great ideas from all of the lore teams. So I do want to show that off, and it has made me feel kind of bad that I haven't been able to until this point. So I'm looking forward to getting this fully set up, which is probably going to be tomorrow, maybe the day after tomorrow. Not sure. I'm going to be a little bit busy tomorrow, but we'll see. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. I really think it'll help a lot with keeping interest up and everything because obviously we'll be able to share all of the very interesting lore, culture, races, etc. that we can think up, and I think we'll have a really good lore base to go off of when we're first launching the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Next showcase, I am going to do my utmost best to get as many of those items implemented as I can, as many of the spells as I can as well. It is been a Herculean task getting this stupid server up this wiki up, I should say, just because it's way out of my comfort zone. I'm totally a noob when it comes to server hosting and Ubuntu and Unix in general, etc., etc. So it's been a learning experience, and I think I could do it way faster if I had to do it again, which is good. Obviously, it helps me maintain the wiki and, of course, everything else that goes with it. But it was still a bitch. So, you know, it's split feelings, I guess. But regardless, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys look forward to the next one. Like I said, expect a ton of stuff, as much as I can manage. I should be implementing basically everything out of Zane's list. I'm not sure about Hal's list. I'll do my best to get the spells in, though. Anyway, we'll see. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, I hope you guys look forward to the next one. Have a good day.